always had acne growing up. I would do everything and anything to get rid of it. My friend, on the other hand, her skin was perfectly clear. I had the longest skincare routine while she had the smallest. All she did was wash her face and use a gua sha. I was bound to be jealous. One day while I was staring at my acne, I thought of an idea. I would put bleach on her gua sha. One night we were doing our skincare together. She left to go get something. I don't know what, but then my plan came into action. I drenched the gua sha in bleach. She then used it and screamed in terror. I laughed. I laughed so hard. When I saw her face, there were burns all over.
A few weeks ago, my best friend Zoe went missing. Everyone has been devastated, especially her mom. The police stated that they couldn't find her and the investigation was closed. So I took matters into my own hands. After school the next day, I was thinking. I remember she told me about meeting up with a friend she had recently met. I never thought that was a good idea, but I also didn't know what the outcome would be. Maybe all this time she had just been hiding away or pranking us. Despite that, I went to look. I was searching around until I saw the most horrific thing I've ever seen.
I always have been friends with this girl. We were friends in elementary through high school. We even graduated together. And one day she invited me and my boyfriend for juice and smoothies. And when I got there, I seen my boyfriend and best friend kissing. But I didn't tell her I knew. After we got done with our smoothies, we walked to her house to watch movies. When we walked in, I stabbed her in the back. And she said, "Why, Libby, why? I loved you. Because you kissed my boyfriend." And her last words were, "It was supposed to be a April Fool's prank."
I used to be the only child until my little sister was born. When she was born, everything changed. They always chose her over me. They would never show any love for me too. One day we were crossing the road and a car came. I tried to stop her, but it was too late. My parents wouldn't stop crying. They wouldn't stop blaming me for my sister's injury. So that night, I got my revenge. It was so funny the way they were begging for me to have mercy on them.
I was a very famous influencer. When I announced that I was pregnant, I knew that my fame would rise and I would get attention.
Congratulations, you have a healthy baby girl.
My baby looked nothing like me, and even worse, she was overweight already. Are you sure that's my baby?
I'm sure. She's about 7 pounds overweight, but that's all.
As soon as the doctor left, I knew I had to get rid of my child. Nobody online could know that such a hippo could possibly be mine. A few days later, I took her to the beach. As I struggled to hold her heavy body, I walked down the pier and dropped her into the water. As I walked back, I felt no guilt whatsoever. A few years later, I decided to try again for a baby.
Congratulations.
This time, my baby was stunning. She looked identical to me. Me and my daughter had a very special bond. Everyone on my socials agreed. I decided to take her to my favorite place, the beach. As soon as we arrived, she started crying. "It's okay, sweetie. Look how pretty the sunset is." I walked down the pier so she could get a better view, but she started crying even more.
Please don't throw me off this time. I'm pretty now.
I had to do the one thing any rational human would do, push her again.
Someone please help me.
This time, I felt different. I actually felt like I was never going to get a normal child. I always felt like someone was watching me. After all, I am famous. I drove to the police station to report my daughter missing.
Oh, hello. What seems to be your problem?
I would like to report my daughter missing again. This time, it's Gianna.
Oh, I'm truly sorry. I'll start her. Report right away.
Thank you. This time, I was determined to find a normal, pretty daughter who will be just as successful as me. Hello, I would like to pick up a female child from your adoption center at 8 a.m. And did I leave this open? Whatever.
8 a.m. would be perfect. See you soon.
Hi, let me go grab her. Mia's nonverbal. We found her by the beach alone with a lot of scratches.
I refused to take in such a hideous child, especially one who's abnormally large. As soon as I got home, all I wanted to do was to watch TV.
Breaking news! A child was just found washed up on shore. DNA tests are still ongoing.
What? I finally knew how to get rid of my obese daughter. I had to dig up 12 pounds of sea salt. I hope no one saw. I needed to collect 12 strands of Mila's hair. Finally, my plan can take action. I sprinkled her with all the salt and started swinging. Then suddenly, she just stopped crying and disappeared.
Breaking news. Famous influencer Gemma Stone was found dead at her own home. 12 pounds of sea salt were found scattered all over her porch. Little to no evidence of murder.
Are you sure you're willing to take in this child? She's been through a lot, and I would hate to see her get hurt again.
Yes, of course.
We will take great care of her.
Hello.
I have two very good friends, Millie Shells and Katie West. Me and Katie were the best of friends, but Millie slowly replaced me. Today, Katie invited us for a sleepover. I knew this was my opportunity to finally be Katie's number one. As they left me out as usual, my opportunity arrived.
I have to go fix my makeup. I'll be right back, guys.
And before Millie knew, I was able to take her soul. I was so excited, I can finally have Katie all to myself.
Hey, bestie. Sorry I took so long. Where's Vera?
She's already sleeping. Don't worry about her.
Ray had always loved to ding-dong ditch. It was her favorite hobby, and she loved the thrill. One day, as she sat down to watch TV, the news appeared.
Breaking news! A kidnapper is on the loose. Stay safe.
This is silly.
But as Ray knocked, she got grabbed by the shoulder and pulled inside. She went missing, so the police went to her house. They started to look around the neighborhood and got this house, but the police saw something horrifying. I always had this huge hatred for my best friend. I mean, she was pretty, funny, and all the beyond. I hated her. And the worst part is, she was always kind to me. We hung out all the time, and I always played off the best friend role. But it was all an act. One night, I was at her house for a sleepover. She was always fast asleep, so I set my plan in action. I went over to her bedside and hit her with a bat. After that, I carried her to my car, which I drove over to the bridge, where I dropped her down to the lake. 5 months have gone by, and I transferred to a new school. I had many friends, and I was way more prettier. One day, the teacher announced a new student in our class.
Today we have a new student in our class. This is Rachel.
I froze in fear when I saw my parents never let me in the basement. It was like they were hiding something from me. Later that night, my parents went to a party. Once they left, I decided to sneak in their room and get the basement key. I went downstairs to the basement. When I opened the basement, I saw my parents. I was home alone and I was bored. My friend called me and asked if she could come over. I obviously said yes because my parents weren't home. A little later, she came over and we watched Annabelle. When the movie was over, we were laughing at the doll. My friend told me that we should get the doll as a joke, and I agreed with her. A week later, the doll arrived at my house. I invited my friend over to sleep over since my parents weren't gonna be home. We opened the doll and we had a weird feeling about it. So I went outside to throw it away. We ended up falling asleep because we were tired. When we woke up, the doll was right in front of us. We didn't think much of it and thought we just forgot to throw it away. My friend left in the afternoon before my parents came back home. I went outside to throw the doll away again. My parents came back home and headed to sleep because it was late. When I woke up, it was really quiet. I thought my parents had just slept in, so I went to go check on them, but they were dead. Me and Blair have been friends since we were little kids. We both said we were going to be friends forever, no matter what. In high school, she became more pretty and really popular. She always had the spotlight when we were together. One day, she told me she wanted to stop being friends with me. I asked her why she wanted to stop being friends. She told me I wasn't pretty enough to be seen with her. When school ended, I followed her home, and that was the last time she was seen. The next day, I went to school and I looked better. I finally got the attention that I wanted,